Alright guys, welcome to my next Q&A, the Background Ponies Q&A. And yeah, as always, if a question you want to a question you had on here wasn't answered by me, that usually means YouTube was being a dick and didn't have it on the list, and either marked it as spam or didn't even have it on here, so I do apologize in advance for that. But anyway, having said that, let's dive into the Q&A. Starting off with Serpentilata. Serpentilata's first question is, favorite background ship? Good question. What is my favorite background ship? I'd have to say I'm very much fond of Lyra and Bonbon, but I think my favorite ship is Vinyl and Octavia. Yeah, Vinyl and Octavia are my two favorites right there. That's my favorite ship, with Lyra and Bonbon at a close second. Anyway, second question. Do you have any sympathy for the Equestria Girls background characters? Well, no one seems to give a crap about the background characters in Equestria Girls if they're not Lyra, Bonbon, Octavia, and Vinyl Scratch. Then yeah, I kind of feel the same way, because that's kind of funny that, you know, the only background characters we seem to care about are the ones that came from the MLP universe, and not the ones that have already been, or that are the established characters of the Equestria Girls universe. So I find it hilarious that we give no fucks about them, but, you know, we care about the other ones. Anywho, so, third question. So basically the male ponies are background ponies, so best male pony. Okay, I'll agree with this because they are supporting characters. So I'm going to have to say my favorite, me personally, my favorite male characters are, of course, Big Macintosh. Big fan of Big Mac. Soren's hit and miss. Mr. Cake's a lot of fun. Yeah, I said it. I like Mr. Cake. Shining Armor. Well, he's more of a main character than he is... Well, he's still supporting, I guess. So yeah, those guys. And, of course, Dr. Hooves. Can't go wrong with the Doctor. So, thank you for that question. Thank you for those questions, Serpentilata. Moving on now to Blue Electro, number 1. Oh, excuse me, Blue Electro 52. I accidentally had your first question. Okay, Blue Electro's first question is, Blue Electro 52's question is, if Hasbro decided to hire one of the past Doctors to voice Dr. Hooves, which one would it be? Ooh, I like this question. I like this question a lot here. Now, a lot of people do say David Tennant for the role of Dr. Hooves, and admittedly, yes, I would really like that. But here's the thing. David Tennant's kind of a busy person these days, what with going to be on Netflix, the Jessica Jones TV show as the Purple Man, and yeah, he's probably going to be very busy with, obviously, I think Broadchurch is getting a 3rd season? I think so. Could be wrong. But I digress. He's a very busy person. Then again, you know, he did show up in 2 episodes of Fish Hooks as Oscar's brain, and he has done voice acting before, so there's a possibility. But again, I think it as much as I would love to see David Tennant on here, because that would be absolutely amazing, I wouldn't mind if they went like with a real classic, like a really classic Doctor. Sorry, I had to get some water. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if they went with a really classic Doctor. I think that would be a lot of fun to have them play around with a, you know, a older voice actor. Now, if I was to pick, you know, who would I pick in terms of like classic Doctors if they couldn't get Tennant? They probably, yeah, there's no way they could get Eccleston. Matt Smith? He's busy too. Peter Capaldi's off being the Doctor, so fortunately we can't get him to Canada and then ship him back to Britain to do more Doctor Who episodes. So, if I could pick it would probably be a classic Doctor if they did decide to have a Doctor Who actor voice that character. So my pick would be Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor. I think Paul McGann has the charm and the voice for that. And if not Paul McGann, I would say Peter Davison. That'd be my second pick. But Paul McGann first, Peter Davison number 2nd. Why I'm not saying Colin Baker or Sylvester McCoy or even Tom Baker, more or less because Tom Baker's very old, and you know you can clearly see it it takes a lot out of him to move around. Especially we saw, you know, how he's a very elderly actor. So again, you know, you got to fly to Canada, do the voice, and then fly back. But then again, he has done conventions in America, not a lot lately, but Tom Baker would also be a really good one. But I'm going to have to say the two best bets we would have are Paul McGann, and then second place would be Peter Davison, the Fifth Doctor. But I think it would be cool to see any of the I would just like a Doctor in general. Let me say this right now. I would be happy if a Doctor in general did the voice of one of the... It did the voice of Dr. Hooves. Anyway. So anyway, thank you for that question. Your second question is, what other actors would you cast to voice your favorite background characters? Okay, what other actors would I okay. Favorite background characters. Okay, I guess Vanessa Marshall as, Vanessa Marshall as, maybe Octavia. No, better yet, she'd be probably better as Bon. No, Andrea Libman, because she's already on the show, as Bon Bon. Tabitha St. Germain for Bon Bon. Vanessa Marshall for, better yet, Jennifer Hale. Yeah, Jennifer Hale for Octavia, and Vinyl. Who would be Vinyl? Great Lyle would be a great derpy. Crap. Who would be a good Vinyl? Maybe, if she's not trying to do a, you know, Rainbow Dash voice, I would say Ashley Ball, because she's already on the show, and I think she can... Hopefully she can do that, but yeah. Those are my picks. So anyway, thank you for those questions, Blue Electro. Moving on now to Matt Kaiser 08, who asks, who are your least favorite background ponies? I don't really have one. I like them all, so I don't really have a least favorite. If you made a background pony of your own, what would his or her name be, and what type of pony would it be, etc.? I don't know. I'm not really good at the whole pony generator type thing. So yeah, I don't really have a character in general, so sorry about that. I guess, like, I wouldn't, like, here's the thing, there's so many ponies out there, there's so many pony OCs out there, that I've kind of been like, well, maybe I would like to do something different, like, maybe do something a little outside of a pony OC, maybe do something a little different. So if I ever had, like, an MLP OC, it would probably be like a gargoyle or a Timberwolf or something. But, yeah. Anyway, once again, thank you for those questions, Matt Kaiser 08. Moving on now to Burnouter7, who asks, why don't they just ask No Whacking to voice Vinyl Scratch for an episode? Okay, for those who don't know who No Whacking is probably one of the most famous voice actors, fan voices, if not the most famous fan voice for Vinyl Scratch. She's done a lot of different stuff, whether it be fan animated or audio dramas, for all doing the voice of Vinyl Scratch. And I think the reason why is because, you know, she's not, she's fan known, but she's not part of the, at least I don't know her No Whacking's personal life. So I think the main reason that's holding her back is because, well, it's mostly because she's not I don't think she does voice acting for a living. I don't think she does that for a living. But who knows? Maybe they'll give into fan love and just have No Whacking. Because I think she's a Canadian citizen. I do think she's a Canadian citizen, and you can't. According to this weird rule in Canada, you have to be Canadian to be on here. Guest stars don't get that same rule, but maybe I don't know. I would love to see it though, admittedly. Anyway, but it's unlikely, and it's going to be interesting when that 100th episode runs around and we hear, whatever voice comes out of Vinyl's mouth. Anyway, okay, second question. Vinyl Scratch, Octavia, Lyra, and Derpy Hooves meet Freakazoid, Crypto the Superdog, Caboose from Red vs. Blue, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, Steven and the Crystal Gems. What happens? It would be total chaos. Just utter, total chaos. Alright, what do you think Vinyl Scratch, would get along with Spyro and Sonic? I think so. I think I think her partying out with Spyro and Sonic would be a lot of fun. I think that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, think of those questions, Burnouter. Moving on now to John Kelly, who asks, favorite background pony? My favorite background pony is Vinyl. Yeah, Vinyl Scratch. Doctor Who's official mini-comic. Would you read it? Yeah, I would absolutely love to read a mini-comic around Doctor Who's. Absolutely. Alright, third question. Lyra ends up in your living room and crazy stuff happens. Not meant to sound perverted. If by crazy stuff you mean, like, oh my god, a human, I love you, human, human, human. Let me have your hands. What? No. But anyway, think of those questions, John Kelly. Moving on now to Andrew Varney, who asks, the background six find their way to Danville. What potential adventures might happen? Well, I think it would be hilarious to see the cast of Phineas and Ferb meet talking ponies. That would be, and trying to understand the science of said magic ponies. I think that would be completely hilarious. Also, I think Doofenshmirtz would be also very. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, it would be a lot of fun to see, especially Doofenshmirtz trying to figure out the magic of ponies and help him try to take over the Tri-State area. That's my best Doofenshmirtz impression. There you go. Alright. If the background six became lanterns, which rings could each of them receive? I guess green to Dr. Who's. Lyra would get, I don't know, greed because she wants to be so... She's greedy to learn more about humans in headcanon. Octavia would get compassion, maybe? Derpy would get... Yeah, she would get the green ring, or blue lantern. Vinyl would get... Fuck, I don't know. The Star Sapphire ring? I don't know. I really don't know, honestly. Alright, your third question. The background six react to any of the following. The Kirby universe, Fat Boo, watching Phantom of the Opera, the Straw Hat Pirates, the Ginyu Force, Gohan as Great Saiyaman, or running into Slender Man. I think that rhymed at the end there, Varney. Anyway. So them in the Kirby universe, I think Vinyl would be like, I am tripping balls. That would be Vinyl's reaction the whole time. I'm tripping balls. Fat Boo would turn them all into candy. Watching Phantom of the Opera would be like, that would be their movie night. Like, they'd be like, oh man, it's Octavia's movie night. What did she pick? Phantom of the Opera? Okay, I like Phantom of the Opera. That's actually true. I do like Phantom of the Opera. So yeah, they'd all sit down and watch Phantom of the Opera for movie night. The Straw Hat Pirates from One Piece. I think they would like, those are pirates. That guy can stretch and the swords, whatever. Those are pirates. Okay, those are pirates. The Ginyu Force, they would be like, okay, you guys are weird. And then they would all get sadly smacked around. Gohan is Great Saiyaman, they would break out laughing, and Slender Man, it would not turn out well. So anyway, think of those questions, Andrew Varney. Moving on now to Dragon Epic 94, whose first question is, have you seen the Ponies in a Box Doctor Who's audio series, such as Doctor Who's an Assistant and Doctor Who's Adventures? And recently, Adventures of the Doctor and Luna. I have not seen the Adventures of the Doctor and Luna. I have seen, however, Doctor Who's an Assistant and Doctor Who's Adventures. Those are really good. Just one thing, though, it always kind of bugged me. It's not that I hate it, but it just kind of always irked me with it. It always just kind of irked me. And I'm not saying it's a bad series at all. It's actually really good and very well written. Very brilliantly written, might I add. Sorry, I had to get some water. But yeah, the one thing that always irked me was that they always just said the Doctor just fell into the MLP universe and became a pony and never tried to find his way back to Earth. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so the Doctor just gave up trying to figure out to go back to his world? I mean, the Doctor, Doctor Who's could have easily just been his own character rather than just being the Doctor in pony form. You could have just had this Doctor, this universe's Doctor Who's be this universe's Doctor, and, Earth could have been protected, because I'm pretty sure Earth is being screwed over right now without the Doctor to help them. But yeah, that was the only teeny tiny thing, but it really makes up for that fact in the writing. It makes up a lot in the writing for that. So, yeah. Second question is, if IDW made a comic book spin-off of the Background Ponies, what do you think it would... what would you think of it, and what characters would be the stars of it? Well, of course, the Background Six. Lyra, Bon Bon, Derpy, Dr. Hooves, and Octavian Vinyl. So... the Background Six right there. Have them go on all these wacky adventures. Maybe do the whole the whole idea they had with maybe have it that they're doing side adventures in the MLP comics, while in the main MLP title you see the main story, and with the Background Ponies you see what's going on with them. I would not be surprised after this 100th episode, by the way, just throwing this out here. I would not be surprised, honestly, if after this 100th episode with the Background Ponies appearing, I would not be surprised at all if IDW, like a month later or even a few weeks later, announced, hey, we're doing another MLP spin-off comic, and it's all going to be about the Background Six. That comic would sell like hotcakes. No, admit it, you would read that too. I mean, they've already got 3 titles out, well, 2 titles out of ML, not counting the mini-series, because it's just the villain micro-series. But yeah, the Friends Forever and the main title are still going strong, and I would not be surprised in the least if they just threw out this Background Six title, because I'm pretty sure that would sell a lot. Anyway, thank you for that question. Moving on to your final one. Do you think Lyra and Bon Bon and Octavian Vinyl should be a couple in the upcoming episode or in the comics like they are in the fandom? Well, they kind of hinted, they very cleverly hinted at Lyra and Bon Bon being in a canon relationship in Rainbow Rock, in the Rainbow Rocks movie. Admit it, they're just touching faces, but you just kind of know right off the bat, yeah, they know what the fandom's thinking. So I would like to see it. I mean, we probably may never see it in a kids show. Remember how bad they censored the whole derpy ship thing? I mean, excuse me, the derpy censorship thing. Excuse me, yeah. Remember how well that went? Yeah. But yeah, it would be cool and a very ballsy move if they just said Lyra and Bon Bon or Octavia and Vinyl were in a relationship, and I'd be all for it. Yeah, absolutely. So, thank you for that question, Dragon Epic. Moving on now to Imaginate, who asks, which Background Ponies do you think deserves a comic story episode about them? All of them. All of the Background main 6. All of them. Just all of them. Especially Dr. Hooves in first place. Anyway, second question. Which Background Ponies would be the best for a reserve main 6 team? Again, all 6, and well, I guess let's make this interesting. Instead of the Background 6, because I guess you could say all the supporting characters are in the background too. So if there was to be an emergency main 6, like the main 6, their elements were like damaged or they couldn't use their rainbow powers, and they had to transfer their powers to somebody, their powers of harmony to another group. Let's make this interesting, because, again, it would just be a cop-out saying it would be the Background 6. So let's make this interesting and say, like, they pick, Cheese Sandwich would be the temporary element of laughter. Trixie would be the temporary element of magic. Apple Bloom would be the temporary... No, Big Mac would be the temporary element of honesty. Loyalty would go to... I think Rainbow Dash would transfer her power of loyalty to maybe Spitfire or Soren, and Rarity would give her element to, I guess, Coco from that one episode. She would give that power to Generosity, and Fluttershy would probably give hers to Discord. Probably. So there you go. Anyway, so thank you for that question. And your final one is: who do you think has greater fauna? Who has a greater fan base? Derpy or Lyra? I'm gonna say Derpy because you see a lot more Derpy merc than you do Lyra merc. You do see a lot of you see a lot of more Derpy swag everywhere, and she's kind of like the flagship character more than any of the other main six. And you know, you gotta admit that. So probably Derpy. So Imaginate, thank you, Imaginate. Moving on now to XB Pastrana, who asks, if the background six were in The Last of Us, which characters would they be? I have not played The Last of Us, unfortunately. I have heard a lot of great things about that game, but I have not been able to play it. Second question, are you hoping that the 100th episode revolves around Doctor Who's and Derpy or something else? Well, I would like to see the Doctor and Derpy be a focus. I would like to see the other four of the main background six also show up. I'd like to see them show up as well. Alright, who do you think is a better companion for Dr. Hooves? Derpy, River Song, or Amelia Pond? Amelia and River in pony form. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm gonna go with Derpy again. That's how I see it. Okay. So thank you for those questions, XB. Moving on now to Nobodies, who asks, what would happen if the background six suddenly ended up in the Transformers universe and became Transformers themselves? This is, I got this idea from a crack pairing of Octavia and the Predaking. Okay. I'm gonna take your word on that one. Okay. So I guess, like, what would be their robot modes? I guess robot mode for Lyra would be maybe a helicopter, because fuck you, helicopter. For Vinyl, just a giant, like, she would probably have the same vehicle mode as Jazz, like this, 1980s Porsche with the big surround sound in it. Dr. Hooves would have the TARDIS. Derpy would have a muffin, because it's Derpy. And Lyra and Bonbon would have... Well, I think I already said... Well, Octavia and Bonbon... I think Octavia would have, like, a ambulance, because she looks like a medbot. And for Bonbon... Fire truck. Because fire truck. Alright. Okay, I already answered this question already, Nobodies, of the voice actors. So I'm gonna move on. So I'm gonna move on to the next one. So your third question: pick 5 places you want the background 6 to visit. First and foremost, Las Pegasus, Manhattan, another planet, thanks via Dr. Hooves or somewhere in time. Have a wacky adventure in, like the pony version of Canada. I want to see the MLP version of Canada. Admit it, you want to see the MLP version of Canada too. Maybe for the 5th one would be, maybe you get trapped in the same comic book that Spike trapped everyone in Power Ponies? Maybe? So there you go. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Nobodies. Moving on now to Travis Rendon, who asks, what would happen if Vinyl Scratch meets Marceline from Adventure Time? It would be an awesome party. They would make awesome music together. Her bass meeting, well, Marceline's bass guitar would be nothing more than amazing. Alright, second question. What background pony would you like to have something canon about them, like how Vinyl has red eyes in fan continuity project and is now canon in the MLP universe? Oh, okay, he's basically asking what I'd want from fanon to be made canon, like how Vinyl has red eyes, that was originally fanon for MLP fans. and then it was made canon in Equestria Girls, so what else would I like to see made canon in this universe? Okay. I'm gonna say, like, well, Derpy, I want to see an official canon version of Derpy's love for muffins. All she said was muffins in her first appearance. So, yeah, have it actually that she likes muffins. And also, yeah. There you go. Have actual Derpy with muffins. There you go. Anyway, what? Okay, third question. Which would you like to see? Vinyl versus Vector or Trixie versus Silver? Trixie versus Silver. Let's make that. Let's have a little fun with that one. All right. Thank you for that question. Thank you for those questions, Travis Rendon. Moving on now to Boo Rat 1, who asks, do you think a full-on spin-off series could actually thrive in this 100th episode if it is a if this 100th episode is a huge enough hit? Also, okay, this is going to be either I'm going to answer this one because he's asking whether Boo Rat's asking instead of a comic, what if it actually made another spin-off similar to what if they make the 100th episode like a backdoor pilot for a new show? I mean, they're already doing Equestria Girls, the TV show, so this probably may be too far. It wouldn't be too far off that they decide to make this Background 6 TV show a they pretty much make it to be like a backdoor pilot, which I'd be all for. I'd be all for more MLP. And yeah, it probably would be a huge hit because this is the thing everybody wants, so don't screw this up. And also, I think it would be a huge hit, maybe even bigger than the show, because it's the characters, people have the most fun with out of all of... I mean, yeah, we get a lot of fun out of the main 6, but the Background 6 are, like, fans' playgrounds, really. Yeah. Yeah. So think of that question. Second question: which of the fan theories on the background characters do you like that is not Doctor Who stuff? I think my favorite fan and stuff is the relationship between Vinyl and Octavia. That kind of everyone treats the Octi-Vinyl ship with a lot of love and care. They do. So I think that's my favorite. Alright, third question. Do you think they will actually give Big Mac more speaking lines, or will they keep making him mostly silent in the show? I know in the I think hopefully they'll give him more speaking lines. I can only hope. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Boo Rat 1. Moving on now to Carlotta Studios, who asks, what is your favorite background Earth Pony, favorite background Pegasus, and your favorite background Unicorn? Why are they your favorites? Okay, favorite background Earth Pony is Octavia. This very elegant, very sophisticated type character, I'd say. Favorite Unicorn, obviously Vinyl. And favorite background Pegasus, Derpy, because Derpy is amazing. And background Unicorn, I just like... Vinyl is just like this cool, bombastic character, and just looks like she's always ready for a fun time. Not that kind of way. Get your mind out of the gutter. Anyway. Your final question is, what would happen if Derpy ended it up in Atmos and joined the Stormhawks? Before I answer that, let me talk to... Carlotta Studios left something saying that she doesn't like putting so much Stormhawk questions on here. That is totally fine, Carlotta. You're keeping the flame alive, as I've said before. So I don't mind if you ask mostly Stormhawk-centric questions. I don't mind that at all. So yeah, I don't mind. But yeah, I don't mind at all, Carlotta. But anyway, moving on to your question. I'd say it would be hilarious if Derpy joined the Stormhawks, but I think they would get tired of her and instead use her as a weapon of mass derp on Cyclonia. They would just Derpy, we have a special mission for you in Cyclonia. Oh boy, do I get muffins? You get lots of muffins. Yay! And proceed to terrorize everyone in Cyclonia. that would be the that would be the end result for everyone. And I can see Master Cyclonus just like the whole castle in disarray, and Master Cyclonus is just like, this is our most embarrassing defeat. Yes. Why am I having her talk like Beast Wars Megatron? Because I can. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Carlotta Studios. Moving on now to ActionFan19, who asks... ActionFan19 asks... hang on. ActionFan19's first question is, if you could see the secondary main six as dinosaurs, what would they be? Okay, Derpy, Pterodactyl, Dr. Hooves, T-Rex, Lyra, Triceratops, Bonbon, Stegosaurus, Vinyl, Ankylosaurus, Octavia would be a Velociraptor, and I think I got them all. Yeah, I think I got them all. Alright. What do you think, second question, what do you think prompted the fans to have Lyra obsessed with looking for humans? I think it all came from her just sitting awkwardly on that bench in Dragonshy. That's where it all. I think that's where it all came from, right there. Everything about Lyra's search for humans comes from her sitting, sitting like a human, right there. Third question. Although I know you're not the best fan casting, who would you cast as the secondary main six? Again, already answered this question, Action. But thank you for those other two questions. And moving on now to Andre Partridge, who asks, if you had to sit through and judge a Battle of the Bands music concert in Ponyville with Vinyl and Octavia respectfully competing against one another, and they asked you which one was better, how would you answer them? You were both great, but I'll name a winner as soon as I get something out of my car, and proceed to drive or run to the next town. Alright. How do you think the background six will react to these characters? The Crystal Gems, the Sailor Scouts, the Powerpuff Girls, the Avengers, the Justice League, the Teen Titans, Korra and her friends, and Godzilla. I think just on a whole, utter chaos on every floor. Just on every level, it would just be utter chaos across the board. Oh boy, that would just be a mess. Especially, you know... Well then, I could see Vinyl and Amethyst having a lot of fun. I will say that. Vinyl and Amethyst would have a lot of fun together. Alright. Fuck, marry, kill, Octavia, Vinyl, Bonbon, Lyra, Derpy. I'm gonna say none of the above because they're ponies and going by human form they're teenagers, so no. Gonna say no on that. Alright. Alright. But thank you for those questions, Andre. Moving on now to Omnitron12345, who asks, do you prefer Dr. Hooves as a 100% pony doctor, regular pony, or action scientist like Reed Richards or Adam Strange? 100% pony doctor, but not like as he's the MLP universe equivalent to the Doctor. That's how I would have it. Not that he's really the Doctor in pony form. He's more of his own thing. He's just the pony equivalent, universe's equivalent of the Doctor, and not really the Doctor from our universe. So there you go. Alright, already answered favorite background ship. Already answered that one. So your third question is, who out of any of the background ponies would you cast as a role as the kind of Earth 2 main six? I guess I kind of take that same answer I had from earlier with Trixie, Cheese Sandwich, and Big Mac, and a few others, and that would be my roster for Earth 2 main six. That would be that group right there. So thank you for those questions, Omnitron. Moving on now to Cody Bradish, who asks, what is your take on the controversy surrounding Derpy Hooves? I don't get it. I mean, she only said 2 lines, and it didn't really sound offensive at all. So, I mean, Ed was completely Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy said a lot worse, and nobody seemed to complain about Ed. But the moment, that pony started talking in last roundup, yeah, everyone just seemed to throw their arms up about that one. Well, I don't know. This is just me talking. Yeah, that's really all it amounts to, is just me talking, but that's how I see it. It's just, that's, I don't know. It just aggravates me. That's what it boils down to, being aggravated. Oh well, what can you do? Yeah, well, what can you do? Hopefully she'll be back in the 100th episode. And second question, it has been recently stated that the 100th episode will be all about the background ponies of the main six. My thoughts and expectations are as followed. Don't screw this up. Seriously. This is going to be a big thing, as I've said throughout this entire Q&A. Do not fuck this up. Alright, and your final question is, can't believe I'm asking this, but here it goes. What would it be like if Background 6 went to a rock concert featuring the pony versions of Def Leppard? I only ask this because Def Leppard's been on I've been on the Def Leppard kick recently. I kind of imagine it as that movie, I kind of really imagine it as that movie Detroit Rock City, that Kiss movie. Yeah, that's how I imagine that's how it would go with this ponified version of Def Leppard. Just them trying to get to a concert with all this wacky shenanigans going on. That's how I see it. Why hasn't that made a fanfiction yet? Somebody get on that. Okay. So thank you for those questions, Cody. Moving on now to Major Badass, who asks, what type of adventures or problems the alternate main six get into based on their skills and personalities? I think it would be more like them just going through these slice-of-life type stories, and maybe with the doctor, adding with the Doctor, they would just be going on all these real sci-fi adventures, and shenanigans ensue. Like, they would be handling major problems while the MLP cast are just deciding on what to wear to the Grand Galloping Gala. Well, they'd be like, we just fought the fucking Hydra! What have you been doing? Alright, second question. What background pony do you want to be fleshed out and given a personality? I think out of all of them, I think I would like to see Vinyl and Octavia have more personality grown to... Actually, no, Lyra and Bonbon, yeah. Lyra and Bonbon I would like to see get a lot of personality to them, because they've only been in a few scenes, and also, I would love to see a joke, just like an in-joke of explaining why Bonbon's voice keeps changing. I would love to see just a hilarious, because for those who haven't noticed, Bonbon's had speaking roles before, but she's always had different voices throughout the show. So I would love to see a hilarious explanation for that more than anything else. All right. And your final question is, how do you think the situations would go if the main six were swapped for the alt main sixes, all their major events and villains attacked, including the villains from both the EQG movies, Magical Mystery Cure? In what ways do you think it could have played out different in any ways? It could have ended very badly. It really could have ended very badly in all those situations. Then again, if it weren't for Vinyl, for Vinyl's help, they may not have stood a chance against the Sirens. But anyway, thank you for those questions, Major Badass. The final set of questions come from Wolfman the Impaler, who asks, do you think Equestria Girls Lyra would be a Pegasister as much as a Pony Lyra is a fan of humans? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how I kind of see it, is that she's a Pegasister. Alright. Dr. Who's Snowflake, Carrot Cake, Brayburn, Thunderlane, and Hayseed Turnip Truck have a guys' night out with Strax, Onion from Steven Universe, and Deadpool. What happens? It turns into The Hangover with more explosions. That's how I kind of see this night going down, is that it turns into guys' night out with a lot more, The Hangover with a lot more explosions. And third question, pick one. Muffin time with Derpy or taco time with Sonata? Oh, don't make me choose! I like muffins, but I like tacos more. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with taco time with Sonata. I'm sorry, Derpy, forgive me. But anyway, those are all the questions. I want to thank everybody for all the questions. And once again, if I did not answer someone's question, YouTube was probably being a dick. But once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.